Oh, Mr. Sun, please just stay. Hey guys, welcome back to another week. Today is a really cloudy day, so first I'm just gonna apologize if the sun keeps changing my lighting. We had a windstorm come through last night. It actually hit all of Iowa, and some parts worse than others, but anyway, now we have clouds for days in the sky, and I really wanted to sit down and film this for you. Anyway, I'm just gonna get right into it, and with all honesty, I am one of those people that when the new year rolls in, I am 100% here for it. There's something so refreshing about the start of a new year. And yes, I know that time is kind of almost a made-up concept, and just because the day changes and the year changes, it shouldn't be this like big shift in my mind, but it is, and I give it the full excuse to, start trying new things and just really go in with the mindset that is good for the new year. Which brings me to the point of today's video, which is New Year's resolutions. First, I'm gonna start by saying that really New Year's resolutions are just developing habits, whether that is a habit that you are adding to your life or a habit that you are trying to take away. But I would like to say no matter what kind of habit you are trying to develop in your life, it is a good and beautiful thing, and you should be really proud of yourself. Now, I will be one of the first people to tell you that I'm far from perfect. I make mistakes, and I do not always stick to goals and habits that I'm trying to develop and put into my life. And until this year, this is actually the first year that I ever completed a New Year's resolution. Before, I never stuck to one, like the time I tried to not eat processed food, or the time that I tried to get up early, or when I decided that I was going to exercise daily. But just because I had a simple mess up, I don't let that determine what my year is going to look like. Just because I ate processed food one day, I should go in with the mindset of, I ate processed food today. Yes, it kind of stinks that I had this goal for myself, but I'm gonna try better tomorrow and pick it back up and try it again. Now, some people say that it takes 21 days to develop a habit, and I'm gonna challenge that and say that I disagree. I think it takes a good 2 months of strong work, dedication, time, and effort to develop a strong habit. Now, I should add that I do know that not all New Year's resolutions are a long-term goal. Sometimes they're really small and achievable, which is just as great. For example, like cleaning out a closet would be a short-term New Year's resolution goal, but it's still something you could do. But yes, there is a but. The hard truth about goal setting is it has nothing to do with motivation. At the beginning of setting a goal, it's really easy to be motivated to, lose weight or to drink more water or exercise, but there comes a point really quickly where you generally lose your motivation, and that's when everything comes down to discipline. I promise you, there are a ton of things that I do all the time that I am not motivated to do at all, but in order to do them, I really have to be disciplined, because if I simply went off the feeling of motivation, I promise you, I would not get anything done. And so if you are someone that is trying to reach a goal, or in the past has just continued to fail at what you are reaching for, I came up with a few tips that I think will help you going into the new year. The first one, pretty easy, but I also feel like it can be a little bit difficult, is just to be specific. Let's say you are setting the goal to exercise, and most people, when they're writing their New Year's resolutions or goal list, they'll write, I want to exercise 5 times a week. So instead of saying I want, you should really change it to I will, because one, you kind of just have this mindset of, it's like if you tell someone else I am going to do something, so I will be there at 5 p.m. You're more likely to be there because you set this goal to them, saying specifically, I will be there at 5, rather than I want to be there at 5. And then you might show up at 6:30. But then that brings me to the second one, which is start small. So 5 times a week, that's a lot. And I've been that person that has set my goal that high, which is not a bad thing. If you are a person that is disciplined and knows hey, I can do 5 times and I'm gonna do 5 times a week. But for me, I know myself, I know my schedule, and I know that that is an unrealistic goal for starting. Then I would change it to, I will exercise 2 times a week. And then have that in your mind knowing I would love to get to 5 times a week, but hey, I'm gonna start out at 2, make sure this is doable for me, and then from there work up to 5. So that brings me to the third point, which is create a plan. It's just really important to make sure you're revisiting your goals often, posting them where you're gonna see them all the time. I usually put mine on the side of the refrigerator so I can come over, check them weekly, see where I'm at. And also for me, I just do really well with making to-do lists either the morning of my day or the night before, and that hands down sets me up for more success of getting things done, just to be able to cross it off and know that I did it rather than try to remember it in my head and forget about it. Tip number 4 is remembering your why. So this kind of goes back to the motivation and discipline part. So remember your why and then let that motivation ground you to be disciplined in order to complete your goal. And then you can follow through with your why and just keep pushing on to try to complete whatever you're trying to do. And then the last thing, which I personally think is the most important, is just to remember that change is a good thing. Change with good intention is never gonna make you a worse person or less of, but is only gonna grow you into someone that you really strive to be and look like up to. But since this year is almost to a close, I figured I'd share my 2021 New Year's resolutions with you all for the ones that I did not complete, but also the ones that I did complete. And then I think I'm planning on doing a separate video where I talk about the ones that I'm trying to reach for 2022. But anyway, let's start with the things I failed, which is totally okay. So the first one would be the hardest one for me that I did not complete. I did not put any discipline into it. And that was putting my phone away at 7 p.m. and not looking at it again till 9 a.m. This one I knew, like, it just wasn't a realistic goal set for me. So I'm going to be bringing that one over to 2022 with me, but I'm going to be changing it up a bit. The second one that I did not do, I set the goal to go on a walk every day outside. And again, I just set the goal too high. Every day is pretty high, and this year I am taking that goal with me, but I'm gonna change it to just get outside daily. Even if it's for 5 minutes or standing out on the porch for 30 seconds just to get some fresh air, but going on a walk every day, not realistic. Then the third one, which was journal daily, and that started out great. I just didn't follow through with it. I did journal throughout the year, but just not as much as I was hoping to. Anyway, moving on to the ones that I did complete, which I'm actually really proud of all of these. There's 5 of them that I completed this year, which is really big for me, especially because I've never followed through with the New Year's resolution before. And the first one was to delete Facebook. I didn't delete my Facebook permanently, but I did get rid of the social media app. I took the year off from it, and that was like the biggest blessing for my mental health, just to say goodbye. I don't need to see everybody's lives all the time. And also, Facebook is just a loud place, and it's just not where I needed to be. Moving on to the second one, and that was to read 1 book per month. And I set that pretty straightforward. My goal is 1 book a month, and I completed it. And then I wanted to complete more house projects, and I actually completed 3 house projects. We did our living room this year, our bathroom, and as well as our bedroom. So that was a really big year for remodel projects, and I'm really proud of staying like disciplined and pushed through with that. The fourth one was just to be more intentional with my essential oils, making sure I have my diffusers running all the time when I'm home, and then using essential oils physically on my body. Then the last one that is my biggest accomplishment, hands down, I'm most proud of myself for this one for the year, was that I joined a Bible study. This is something that pushed me out of my comfort zone in a million ways, meeting new women, and also on top of that, just being a part of a group I've never been a part of, growing my faith. When we all know about comfort zones, they're awful. But I pushed myself through it, and I'm glad that I did, because as one of the goals I set for myself, I just want this to be a source of encouragement for you all. In fact, this entire video, but just knowing It's okay to try new things, push yourself, get out of your comfort zone. There are all these people backing you up that are encouraging you and want you to be the best version of yourself. So anyway, as you go into 2022, I am here with you, cheering you on, and I'm proud of you, and you should be proud of yourself. So anyway, before this lighting, the clouds drive me any more bonkers, I'm gonna leave it here. If you guys are new to the channel or haven't subscribed yet, please go down below and hit the subscribe button. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. It's a really good indicator for me to know if people liked the kind of content that I am offering. And anyway, glad to have you guys here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.